Hey, this is Dr. Linda Davis, and today I want to take you through some Office 2016 steps for taking an Excel graph that you have ready to go to PowerPoint, and then showing how to put it in PowerPoint and also to animate it in PowerPoint using with Office 16, which in some cases looks a little different than previous versions of Office. So what I have on the screen right now is just a graph where we plotted some revenue for, actually it's from Microsoft, and I've kind of made everything very bright and colorful in Excel and got rid of a lot of backgrounds and such in Excel because I want it to take on the background of the PowerPoint. So I'm just going to select this graph, and I'm going to just copy it by Control C or right click and copy. And I want to show you how we're going to take it to PowerPoint. Now this is the finished version in PowerPoint, so let me show you the finished version as you can see it animate. And when I launched this slideshow, you notice it's the graph, but we've added ovals, lines, as well as arrows to arrive at our linear regression trend line answer here. So let me launch it. And as this slide comes in, we click and the linear trend line pops up, which is the best fit line through the data points, and the words linear trend line pop up. And then we want to forecast. So our last data point is 2016, but I want to forecast this out 2 more years to around 2018. So watch how we show this or showcase this in PowerPoint. So I'll click and an oval comes up around 2018, and it comes in on click and then up and strikes the trend line, and then over exactly from that intersection point till it strikes the y-axis at 100 billion, and then I click to reveal the last text box, which should time out with what my mouth is saying. In 2018, revenue should be approximately 100 billion, and that's our forecast for 2018 for the revenue. Now, getting back to how we did that, let's launch a blank PowerPoint slide. So let me just go to File, New, Blank Presentation. And we want a black background, so let me go to Design. I'll select a black background, and notice these menus look a little different than before, but not too hard that you can't figure it out. But solid fill, I want the color to be black, and I would normally say apply to all. And then I want to get rid of these little pre-formatted boxes here, so let me zap those. Now I'm going to make this a little bit larger screen if I can and still not mess up my viewer. There we go. And take the back, done with the background now, so there we have more of a full screen, but I'm going to have animation pop up shortly. But I've got to bring, I did copy that Excel graph, and I want to paste it in here, but I don't want to use regular paste. What I tend to do is go to Home, and there's paste, but I don't want regular paste. I want to click on the down arrow, go to paste special. I think one of the easier ones to work with. You can do it more than one way, but picture is like the 3 down PNG format. Seems to work pretty good, so I'll say OK to that. And it brings my graph in, and I'll just refit it on the slide, and then obviously stretch it out so I can make it as large as I possibly can. Now meanwhile, at the top it should say the company name, and then that it's annual revenue, so that's a subtitle in PowerPoint. And I can go ahead and insert those little text boxes for that purpose. And let me draw that one. And this was just going to say Microsoft, and let me put it in like white. And the size kind of needs to be big because it's part of the title bar, obviously. I'm just going to keep it simple. And then we'll animate that, of course, and then I'm going to put a subtitle, so let me push that up some more. And let me insert a subtitle. And just say annual revenue. That would be good if I put that in white. Get back in there, annual revenue. This was 2012 to 2016. And I even could say with forecast. And that needs to be a little bigger, obviously, so let me bounce that up to maybe 32 or so. And I need the room for the graph, really, though. Now, let me get that centered a little better. Now the graph, and I can animate as I go. That title bar should not animate, so I'm going to keep that up there. The subtitle should animate, so I can go to animations, animation pane, and I'll just do something kind of simple on that. So we'll add animation of maybe fly in, but not from bottom, so go to the direction part under effect options and say from left is good enough. The graph itself should spiral in, is what I like to use for animations, so I'll go add animation, more entrance effects, and spiral in is the last choice under entrance effects. And let's see, I think these are on mouse click. Let me change them both to start after previous for their starts. Now that they show up in the animation pane, start after previous, there we go. And excuse me, let me add the trend line. So I will go in and I will insert the trend line, and I'm going to mimic that from whatever I saw it do on the trend line that it put in Excel. So I'll insert shapes, and trend line is just a line, so under lines it's just the line. And let's see, I can look back. I still have my Excel up, so I didn't have my trend line on this one, but I did keep it on this one, so I can look at it to tell how to redraw that trend line. Starts at the top of the first point and still at the top of the second point, and then underneath the third point. So that gives me a path. So let me go back. So starting along in here, top of the first one, top of the second one, it's the best fit line between all these data points. So I'm going to draw it out. Now remember, I'm trying to go out to 2018, so I want to make sure I at least go past 2018 a little bit anyway. So that's pretty redundant. It looks a lot like the line that I had in the Excel. I don't want to leave it that way though. I want to make it red under shape outline. I want to make it the weight 4.5 to make it thick enough, and then I want to animate. Like I said, on this one I like to animate as I go, so I'm just going to pick, like for ovals, lines, and arrows we always use wipe, and I'm going to put that, leave that on click, and the direction needs to wipe from left to be normal looking. And then I'm going to add a little text box that says linear trend line, so I'm going to insert another shape, which is this time going to be I'm sorry, not a shape. I'm going to insert a text box. Insert text box that just says linear trend line. So let me boost it up to 24 and make it white. And that needs to be just like a box in for the effects. So I will say add animation box. This is down under more entrance effects. And that can be after previous. So it will, that box will come in after the trend line appears. Now let's go down, and next step is the forecast part. I'm going to put an oval around 2018, and if you start having problems with doing stuff on this, it might be, you make sure that you initially bring that graph in as a picture PNG format. Seems to make it easier to work with. So I'm going to insert an oval. That's under shapes, and under basic shapes you'll see oval. Sometimes I draw it out to the side like that, and just to get the scale of it right. Let go. I want to take that middle color out. I don't need it to be filled in, so I'm going to go to shape fill and say no fill, and then I'm going to go to shape outline and say, hey, make it red. Then go down to weight and make it 4.5 for the thickness, and obviously it's not in the right place, so I'm going to grab it with the 4 arrows and move it over to 2018. And then I want to insert shapes again. This time I want an arrow. Arrows are underneath the line category, and we want to make sure it's pointing the right way, so make sure it's pointing up and strikes the trend line. Keep it straight. Sometimes holding shift down helps keep it straight. And red is the color, 4.5 point is the weight. Animate that. I don't think I animated the oval actually. Let me go back to the oval. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to activate certain parts, but if you keep trying, it'll happen. Animations on that oval. Oval, I want to use wipe. Doesn't matter the direction since it's kind of a circle anyway. I do need to make sure it's on mouse click. I need this next one, this arrow I just drew. I need to animate that again. That one needs to be wipe as well. I use wipe for ovals, lines, and arrows. And I need to make sure it's actually after previous. And I need one more arrow. So let me go get one. Insert, shapes, arrow. And then start right where you left off as it hits the regression line. And you're going to draw your next arrow all the way over till it strikes the trend line. I'm sorry, the axis line, the y-axis actually. And where it hits right in there. Mine's a little low. I may have to bounce it up just a little bit. Sometimes my arrow keys are better at hitting that spot. So, and then obviously the color needs to be red again, and the weight needs to be again 4.5 point. And I want to animate that, so go to animations, add animation, again wipe. And the direction's important here. I better check the other one too. This one should let me go up to effect options. Yeah, wipe from right on that one. Let me check the direction on this other one. That should be from bottom. Yeah, okay. And let's see, they both should be after previous. Let me just double check. Yeah, that one is. And the last one, let's make sure it's after previous. Nope, not yet. Here we go. And almost got it all done. We have one last text box to do up here, so we're going to insert a text box and slide it in there. And we can say, let me make sure get back up to 24, in 2018, which is our forecast, comma, revenue should reach $100, and I'm going to put 100B for 100 billion. And let me make that bold just to make it stand out a little bit more. There's not a whole lot of room in here anyway, but 24 point should work. And then I want to do animations on that. Not a lot of room, like I said, so the animation for this one, box in, would work nicely. I'll pick box, okay, and then of course the effect option is defaults to in, so that's why we call it box in. And that should also be on the mouse click because I want to time that with when I say it. So let's click through in case I missed anything. That much comes up because everything's set to after previous. And then I click to talk about the trend line. And then I click to start the forecast. And then I click to reveal the answer as it strikes the y-axis at 100 billion. Okay, so I hope this video helps with the new Office 2016 formats. Have a great day.